Ambassador Thravain, one of the Republic diplomats, waved at her, and Loch came over, Cale a few steps behind.
"We've been granted access," Thravain said,
his smile giving away his relief.
"You'll leave your weapons with the guards here, and we'll climb up into the temple proper."
Loch glanced at the Imperial guards who blocked the stairs. Their golden armour gleamed in the morning sun, and ribbons of red hung just behind the heads of their halberds. "Understood." She nodded to Cale, unfastened her sword belt and handed it to the guards. The diplomats themselves had no weapons, but Cale followed Loch's lead, as did the other guards, although not without a few glares at the Imperials. While the other guards wore heavy armour and carried heavy swords, Loch and Cale wore riding leathers reinforced with thin strips of metal. Loch was attached to the security detail as a consultant from the Justicars, and Cale was attached as an old friend who Loch trusted at her back.
"Should be fun defending the diplomats with no gear," Cale said, smiling at the Imperials and speaking in a low voice, his lips barely moving.
"Still loving your optimism. Hopefully won't come to that," Loch replied through a smile, her lips unmoving as well.
"No daggers, no boot blades,"
the Republic's guard captain said, grimacing at them. He was an Orajar like Loch and Cale, though his skin had the same light tint as Loch's, suggesting mixed-race parents.
"Diplomats made it clear, and I've been ordered to pass that on to you. Echo."
"Don't worry about it." Loch drew a dagger from a sheath at her hip and added it to the pile. Cale drew a knife from each boot, a dagger from inside his leather coat, and a throwing knife from a wrist sheath under his sleeve. The guard captain, more experienced than Loch had given him credit for, stood and waited patiently, and Cale eventually sighed and unspooled a length of wire from his belt.
"You brought a garrote,"
Loch blinked. Cale shrugged.
"Ivgaffer alloy wire, perfect for demons and wizards."
"On a diplomatic mission," Loch added, emphasizing the words a little more than necessary.
"All the more reason for swift, decisive action if a demon or wizard shows up."
He dropped the garrote on the pile of weaponry in front of the Imperial guards.
"So do I get a receipt for this, or—"
"Come now," Thravain said, gesturing impatiently.
"The Imperial diplomats are waiting in the temple."
Cale glared at the Imperial guard nearest him.
"If any of this goes missing, I'm going to be very disappointed."
The guard tensed until his superior made a curt gesture. Cale grinned at both of them. They made their way up the stairs, led by one of the monks, while the Imperial guards stayed below. Ambassador Thravain and the diplomats led the way, with the guards close behind. Loch and Cale brought up the rear. The stairs were just wide enough for two people to walk side by side, and there was no handrail on either side. On their right, the mountain stone was cool and shadowed. On their left was a straight drop into the Iceford below.
"No wonder the Republic never took this place."
Cale glanced down at the Iceford and stepped a bit further to the right.
"Not that it's a fortress, mind you."
"Of course not," Loch said with an innocent look. "Who'd name a fortress after a butterfly?" She squinted and lowered her voice. "See the red crystals set into the roof?"
"Yeah, I noticed. Defense against airships, I figure. What do you think? Fire magic? I mean, they're red."
"Safe guess." At the top of the stairs, a massive iron gate swung open ahead of them. It was flanked by more Imperial guards who stared ahead unblinkingly as the diplomatic group walked through the gate and into the temple courtyard. The courtyard was large enough to field a small army. It was immaculately maintained, with marble flagstones inset with tiny squares of jade. Pipes pumped water from the Iceford far below their feet through decorative fountains and canals. All across the courtyard, monks in golden robes trained, some moving through forms, while others sparred in small fields of golden sand. Bushes with vivid green leaves sprouted from vases along the walls, and snowy white doves sat in their branches or drank from the fountains. Great golden banners emblazoned with the twin blades of the Empire hung from the walls. It was impressive, but then, Loch figured, that had been the point. The sand showed only a few footprints, not the countless marks that would have been there had anyone been doing actual training, and none of the monks nearest the group were sweating. Cale noticed as well, and shot Loch an amused look. Ambassador